So yeah, I love putting together lists, and I figured it'd be a lot of fun in the middle of the year to put together a top 10 list of the year so far. And then also, guys, if you could hit that like button, subscribe button, the little bell notification, be notified whenever I drop new videos. And if you could also please leave your comments down below. It's important this time because I want to know if there's some films I've been missing out on the first half of the year, whether it be on streaming or in theaters, stuff I need to keep an eye out for in the second half of the year to add to my list so I can have the best list I can at the end of the year. And hopefully some of these films that I got on my list make it to your list if you haven't seen them yet. So without further ado, let's get rolling with number 10, which is Operation Fortune, Rouge du Jour, directed by Guy Ritchie. I had a blast checking out this film, starring Jason Statham, who is awesome and fun in this. Aubrey Plaza's in it. She's a lot of fun. And then the guy who steals the show, Hugh Grant, his performance in this is worth the price of admission by itself. I would totally check this out. It's a fun action comedy. I guarantee you won't be disappointed. It might be a little far-fetched, but I still think you'll have a good time with it. At number 9, I have a film based on the true story, Blackberry. Blackberry was another one of those little surprises. I was going to see it because of Glenn Howerton from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and I like Jay Baruchel, and the story just sounded interesting, and I actually like a good rise and fall story. It's a good true story, a lot of stuff behind the scenes I didn't know about because I remember growing up with the Blackberries around, and it's just, I think this is a good time. It keeps you kind of on the edge of your seat. It's engaging, and I think this is, while it's kind of a sad story to an extent, it is a really good movie, and I think you should check this out if you haven't yet. At number 8, I have John Wick Chapter 4. Come on, the John Wick movies are all kinds of awesome. Keanu Reeves delivers again. They amp up all the action in this film. It's so stinking good. They got a great ensemble in this film. They rev the action up as they do with every movie, and I think it's got a great ending. It's just a great total package. Maybe a tiny bit long, but totally worth it. The last couple thirds of the film just totally fly by, and I think you should check this out if you already haven't. It's a blast. I love this film. Just finally got it on Blu-ray, so very excited to give it a rewatch. At number 7, I have another true story, and that's Air. This was a film I had a lot more high expectations going into this year with. I thought, Ben Affleck is a great director. He does a great job with this. It didn't quite hit the bar I wanted, but it's still in my top 10 as of right now. I think it has a lot of great actors in it who give a lot of great performances, a lot of great quippy dialogue, and it's got a good energy to it. And the crowd I saw this with wasn't disappointed, so I think this is another good one if you haven't got to check this one out yet. All right, here we go. Number 6. This was my most anticipated film going into the year, and it landed at my number 6 so far on my list. We'll see how the rest of the year goes, but that's The Flash, and I'm a little disappointed with the current state it's in with the box office, and DC films not really doing too hot and flopping at the box office, which is very unfortunate because I think The Flash is still a very good movie. I know a lot of people got problems with its lead actor, but we're not even going to talk about that. I'm talking about the movie itself. It's so stinking good. It's so stinking fun, and I think if you're a DC fan, this should be upwards on your list of DC films. I think they do a really good job harkening back to some old DC stuff, while at the same time giving us some stuff we've maybe never seen before. I know people dog on the special effects. I got no problem with it. You can go check out my full review about it. But I think The Flash is a great film. That's why it landed at number 6. At number 5, I have Creed 3. This was one of the first films of the year that absolutely knocked my socks off. I think Michael B. Jordan, his directorial debut, he crushes this thing. He's got a great performance in this from beginning to end. Jonathan Majors, while he's also in a little bit of legal hot water right now, he gives an outstanding performance in this. So ignoring all the outside stuff, just based on the film, he gives a great, fantastic, electric performance. Go check this one out. The fight scenes in this are absolutely jaw-droppingly good. Edge of your seat kind of stuff, but what's great about this film is it's a movie that's got heart and it's got a lot of other stuff in it besides fighting. So you get your fighting and you get a little bit more on top of it with great character stuff, which I think is very important to the Creed films. I think that makes them stand out and worth the time to check them out. All right, number 4, I have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Now, director James Gunn has crushed pretty much every single film he's ever done. I think Guardians 3 might not be as good as Guardians 1, but it's still way up there. I had a great time with this. It'll make you laugh. It'll make you cry. I absolutely sobbed in the theater during this movie. I had tears just streaming down my face. I think it's absolutely great. And I think that the DC universe is in good hands with James Gunn going to eventually lead the DC films in a couple of years with a Superman movie. And I just think he knows how to direct great ensemble films, get great performances and tell a great story, which is what we all want, right? And this is a great story from front to back. Yeah, it's a Marvel movie. Yeah, it's a comic book film, but I think it's so much more, and it stands so much on its own from the Marvel universe that I think you don't need all that baggage to come into this. You just need to know your Guardians films and maybe a couple Avengers films. But other than that, I think this film is a great, great film in and of itself. So at number 3, I have Disney Pixar's Elemental. I definitely was not excited about this going into the year. I was curious about it because I usually trust Pixar when it comes to making their films, and they absolutely deliver with this one. It is heartwarming. It is funny. It'll make you laugh. It'll make you cry. It gives you all the emotions, and I just left with a big smile on my face, having enjoyed, I think, one of Pixar's best films in quite a few years. At number 2, I have a film called Tetris. Now, I don't think a lot of people have seen this. It is on Apple TV+. That's why nobody saw it. But this is one of the better films I saw. For a while, it was my number 1 film of the year until it got knocked off. But it's Taron Egerton leads a great film about based on the true story of the creation of Tetris. I mean, everybody's played Tetris at some point. And the story behind it is so interesting. And they tell it in such a fun manner that I think, you got to see it to believe it. It is a really well done story with great pacing and very interesting, quirky characters. And some of the stuff you like, even if half of it was true, you're like, how did they get away with half of this? How is this even possible that all this stuff was involved? How is Russia involved? How is this involved? Like, what in the world is happening? It's one of those films that you got to kind of check out to believe. I think it was a great, fun film. Great music too, by the way. If you don't have Apple TV Plus, get one of those like 3-month subscription things and go check this film out because it is definitely worth your time. And at number 1, guys, it is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. After I walked out of this film the first time, I was just absolutely floored. The animation is fantastic. And yeah, I know there's the story that's gone out about the 100 animators that quit the job, and there's stories coming out about the kind of poor working conditions that a lot of these animators had to go through in order to even get this film done, which I think is, while that's outside of this film, and I think a lot of that sucks, they did deliver a great product, and it stinks that they had to be put through that kind of stuff to get here. Like, I could have waited a little bit longer if that was the case to get this thing, because it is absolutely stunning. It is one of the best animated films I've seen. Just the uniqueness, and, people will probably turn their nose up at it because it's an animated Spider-Man movie. It is a really touching story. There's so much going on here. Several different characters. Yeah, I'm getting tired of the whole multiverse thing in film, but this is one of those rare times where it's like I can forgive it because it tells an absolutely great story. And I think, Miles Morales as Spider-Man is one of the best characters to come out of the last 10, 15 years. And the fact that this has already like blown the first film's box office performance out of the water. People are loving this. I definitely love it. I know this is a number 1 film on a lot of people's lists. And it's not why it's number 1 on my list, but I'm with them because this is the best film I've seen so far this year. I've seen it twice now. We'll see if it can hold on to that number 1 spot by the time we get to the end of the year. And so I'll ask you again, guys, what do you think? What are some of your favorite films of the year? What are some films I didn't have on my list that you think are top 10 worthy? Maybe I haven't seen them. Maybe we're just not on the same level, which is fine. Film is subjective in that manner, but go back through. I do have a lot of reviews from this year so far. If you don't see a film that you like that I didn't review, leave that film down in the comments. I would love to check it out and see if I can get that. I would love to add films to my review list of the year so far because, man, it's hard to keep track of everything and to see everything. And I'm trying to be on top of it this year. I want to see more films. I want to see more good films. And I hope my top 10 list at the end of the year, while a few of these I love and I know they'll probably stick on that list, I can't wait to see what other films kind of replace some of these on my top 10 list when we get to the end of the year. So until the next review, guys, happy 4th of July weekend, by the way, and I'll be seeing you.